Do we have everybody in the room that needs to get in the room, or do we need to give folks a couple more minutes? You think we're ready, Ron?
I think we're good to go.
Well, thank you all for being so patient. We didn't anticipate rain, and quite honestly, we knew this community was very much behind bringing dialysis here, but the support from your attendance today is really overwhelming. So I want to give you guys a round of applause. This is awesome. This is truly a long-awaited occasion for many of us, but more of you than me. I've only been with DaVita 5 years, but I know there are many, many patients and families and community supporters who've been pushing for this to happen a long time. We're really, really excited to be here today to celebrate this moment. And you know what? You didn't end up with just a dialysis center close to home. You got one of the nicest ones in North Carolina. Maybe the United States, certainly North Carolina.
I can verify that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So you've seen a few others, and this is a little nicer, right?
Oh, yeah.
I've been to others, so I know.
All right. I've been to a number of others, too. This is a state-of-the-art center. We look forward to taking you on tours and telling you more about the individual parts. The teammates with DaVita who are here will be happy to do that once we have the ribbon cutting. But thank you again for being here. DaVita is so pleased to be the provider of dialysis services in Western North Carolina, along with Mountain Kidney nephrologist, Dr. Fleming. The president of Mountain Kidney will be the medical director here, so you got the best in so many ways. But also, we're just very happy to serve all of Western North Carolina. We've got 10 centers now throughout Western North Carolina. This will make the 11th, and as we said, the nicest of all of them. For those of you that don't know much about DaVita, DaVita is one of the nation's largest providers of dialysis services. We have over 70 centers in North Carolina, over 2,000 centers in the country. We're now international, and we have over 12 centers in Western North Carolina once the new standalone home center is finished in Asheville. This one makes 11. The state-of-the-art standalone home center, the very first in North Carolina in Asheville, will open up in just a couple of months. So you folks, we're just very happy to be a part of this today. And again, I thank all of you who've been supporting this great event. And I'd like to now turn it over to Jack Horton, who I understand is going to retire after about 36 years. So congratulations to Jack, and thank you for all your support, Jack, and for being here today. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate everybody being here, and I appreciate everybody's flexibility about moving around in the middle of a planned dedication ceremony. That worked out pretty well. We find out that people from Macon County are pretty doggone resourceful, aren't they? They can do whatever it takes to get things done. It's good to be here. It's really great to be here to see all you folks. And after all, this is not just to celebrate something that the county had a part in doing, but it celebrates something that's a benefit to people in this county from the surrounding area, and we're so thankful for that. About 2 years ago, I was looking back through some of my notes, and about 2 years ago, matter of fact, it's on September the 16th, 2011, which will be 2 years next Monday, we did a press release. And the press release, and I'm going to read part of that to you, if not all of it, so pardon me. The Long-Term and Behavioral Health Committee of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services took action Friday, September the 16th, that effectively moves Macon County closer to having a new dialysis facility in Frabnklin. The committee, after hearing a presentation by Commissioner Ronnie Beal and a recommendation from the agency, voted unanimously to recommend approval of Macon County's petition request for an adjusted need determination for a new dialysis facility with a minimum of 5 dialysis stations. I think we got 7 instead of 5. Following the endorsement by the Long-Term Behavioral Health Committee, the process then moved to the 29-member State Health Coordinating Council for approval before the state health plan can be amended and a certificate of need can be issued. Commissioner Beal said that he was pleased with the positive comments from the committee and their unanimous, enthusiastic support for Macon County's petition for the facility. He's optimistic that the state will concur with the recommendation, and hopefully the citizens of Macon County, whose very lives depend on this service, will soon be able to have the treatment here in their home county. And that was 2 years ago, and more work went into it before that press release was made, Mr. Beal. And a lot of people here today, and Mr. Beal will, I'm sure, cover that when he gets a chance to speak after I get out of the way here. But a lot of people are to be thanked for their tireless efforts in making this a reality. There's a well-known author. His name is George Bernard Shaw. I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have heard of him. And he had a phrase that he used. He's attributed to him. It was a phrase that was used by Robert Kennedy when he ran for president in 1968, and it was later used by his brother Edward when they preached his funeral, part of his eulogy. And I'm going to read that today because I think it has a lot of relevance to what we're talking about here as I introduce our next speaker. George Bernard Shaw said, "You see things and say, why? But I dream of things that never were and say, why not?" Well, I'm here to tell you today that Ronnie Beal is just that kind of a person. And because he is that kind of a person, because he has a vision, because he drove so hard and pushed so hard and called people all over the state and worked so hard on your all's behalf, that we're here today to celebrate the opening of this facility. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the man behind this effort, Commissioner Ronnie Beal.
Jim wants to say one thing.
Yeah, but it's about you.
Oh.
Okay. You guys could have not have had a more gifted and passionate supporter of dialysis.
Yes.
This guy took the ball and ran with it in a way that all of us would be proud. We're proud that he selected us to be the provider, but it was a great partner in that effort. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
You did a great job for this community.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you for being here. I brought the DaVita Bible with me. This is the dialysis thing from whence we started this process. And we're going to talk about a few things. We have several speakers. I won't talk long, but I do want to thank you for being here today. The folks who need this service, not only now, but for generations to come, is the reason we're here today. And it's you all who wrote the letters. This is a book of letters. Everything in this book is a letter. I sent out a letter and was sent one back. I got the list of the folks. Many of you here today have written one of these letters, and that's what done it. I mean, I carried the water, but y'all drilled the well. So it's a pleasure to be here today. We have some wonderful guests with us, some surprising guests that y'all don't know, but y'all will get to know by the end of the day. And so they make me write my stuff down. They claim I ramble. The first request for this facility was made on July 29th, 2011 in Asheville at the North County Health and Human Services Committee. We'll have a whole lot about that committee and the committees you heard that the county manager speak of a little bit later on some of our trips to Raleigh. But the work started well before that, and that was by the patients and their families who have to receive this life-giving treatment. Most treatments you can postpone. You can postpone radiation, chemotherapy, almost any other treatment. This is a treatment you cannot postpone. Dialysis has to happen. Regardless of road conditions from here to Silva, regardless if you have a way there or not, or way back, dialysis has to happen. And so that's when we made our appeal, that's part of what we talked about. How the people of Macon County not only need it, deserve it, but want it. And as you can tell by today, we have a beautiful facility, and we're so proud of. And it's here to serve generations to come. But it is sad that some of those who work so diligently for this day are no longer with us. But as a family member, you need to know that every time that door opens to this place, if your family member is no longer with us today, but with us when we started this process, and there are several, you're going to hear from some of those today. But every time that door opens, the spirit of that person is there. One of those people was Gladys Hannah Wright.
Yeah.
Gladys Hannah Wright, I don't know how many conversations we had. We give Gladys a hand today, and she said, "Son, I'm glad you finally kept working on it." And but when that door opens, and we're going to mention some other folks, but the spirit of folks like Gladys Hannah Wright will be in this place every day, and will be watching this place because they had a heart. Gladys had a dream. Miss Gladys had a dream for this place. And so, not only for those who are present today, but for those who are no longer with us, but are watching down on us today, we appreciate those folks. And today, we're proud to have her daughter, Gloria Thun. Gloria's going to come and share for the family. We have several members of the Wright family present. But Gloria's going to come and share some thoughts from the Wright family. So, Gloria, where's Gloria at? Here she comes. Please make Gloria Thun welcome as she comes up.
I wanted to read because I knew once he talked and everybody else did that I couldn't talk anymore. But we had written 2 letters to Ronnie and to the board and Mr. Smith and several people. And the first one we talked about mother being a widow and how hard it was that she was having to travel back and forth. So we talked all about that. So we went to the next letter, and since we wrote the first letter, we had sent pictures. My sister Sue Ellen and her daughter Megan had taken pictures. There'd been a wreck up on Cowie Mountain, and they had to wait for it to get cleared. And they called ahead trying to beg them to save her place because she knew she had to get there. And so that was one thing that she really wanted to have was the pictures. And in the paper, Ronnie had made sure that the picture of the snow and everything, there was another time they couldn't get through because of the snow. And so they said those pictures made a big difference. And I thank him for taking the pictures and sharing them with everyone to kind of see what everyone was having to go through to try to get across the mountain. But since we did the letter and all, Mother passed away October 18, 2011. And she wanted us to continue to fight for the dialysis center here in Frabnklin. She was only on dialysis for about a little over a year, but that year was very difficult for her and for all of us. Since we wrote the first letter about how early she had to be at the dialysis center in Silva, her time was changed to the earliest time to start on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. She dreaded the trip even more and couldn't sleep that night before. She felt guilty that one of us had to get up so early and drive her across Cowie Mountain and either wait for her 4.5 to 5 hours or drive back to Frabnklin, only to have to drive back to get her again, bring her back home. She often got sick on the way home after being on dialysis for so long. Often we would witness others, and the other dialysis patients from Frabnklin, they were pulled over on the side and were sick, and Mother just, she just felt so bad for them. Another mother worried so much about the patients that had to drive themselves. This is something I couldn't believe. Dialysis patients were driving themselves to Silva and going through all that hours and hours and then driving home. She just couldn't believe it because of the way she felt. She just couldn't imagine them out on the road. It was hard to leave her because we were afraid something might happen to her. So most times we would just stay. And having a big family, she said it was wonderful having the 5 children. There were 4 of us girls and then our brother Walter. And our children and grandchildren all helped. We all took turns taking her and trying to be with her. All of our family feel that if the dialysis center had been here in Frabnklin, Mom could have had more time to spend with her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and family. We feel that we lost precious time with Mom by having to drive so far. We would give anything to have some of that time, that travel time back, to spend at home with her. Please keep our mother and all the other Frabnklin area dialysis patients, past and present, and our families in mind as you approve this dialysis center in Frabnklin. This center must be planned not only for the patients on dialysis now, but also for all the ones that will be going on dialysis soon and those in our future. We write to you to honor our mother's final request to do everything we can to make life easier for those who follow her. And we can remember her being in Ronnie's face with that finger telling him that she probably wouldn't be here, and she was leaving it up to him to get this done. And he did it, and we are very appreciative, and we all love him very much. Thank you.
If you didn't know Gladys Wright, she would tell you exactly what she was thinking. And I'm glad of that, and I love her, and I loved her, and I appreciate what she's done. Another person that I want to make mention of that's no longer with us, but was an inspiration to me and to a lot of others, is Mr. Wayne Harrison. A lot of you in this room know Mr. Wayne. Talked with Wayne, I guess, a lot about this facility and how he was an inspiration to a lot of folks. As you know, Wayne's health kept deteriorating to the point that it was just a miracle that he could even go to dialysis. But Miss Grace cannot be here today. Grace Harrison, his widow, cannot be here today. But she wanted me to express to everyone in this room and everyone that helped take care of Wayne for those many, many years, the drivers, the people, the workers at DaVita who've done such a wonderful job, how much she loved them and cared for them, and that you're in her prayers. And I think that when those doors open, it's just like Miss Gladys. Wayne's Harrison's spirit will be here because he had such a heart and know the need that was. I did not know the need. I did not know. You're going to hear from a fellow here that we've talked probably more than anybody here in a few minutes. He'll tell you that he explained to me, and so did Gladys. But I got to learn. I learned more about dialysis than I ever want to know. But it's people like Gladys and Wayne Harrison. They're no longer with us. Their spirit is here, and they're looking down on this place today. And I'll assure you they know what's going on. I believe it in my heart. So, but we also have some folks and their families who depend on this life-giving treatment still every day. Randy Raby is a lifelong resident of Macon County. He's been receiving dialysis for many years. Randy is also one of those who had the faith and was also a positive and encouragement that this day would come that we're enjoying here this afternoon. And it is quite possible Randy has logged over 1 million miles across County Mountain. Randy, what do you think? That might be a little heavy, but not much. But Randy Raby is here today, and I'm going to move the mic over to Randy Raby. Randy worked as a radio announcer. He's well-known. There's not a person in Macon County, at least of my generation, that don't know Randy and his family. And we appreciate Randy being here today. His wife Karen is here, and his mama's here, and we appreciate them so much. And the brother's here, and we appreciate everybody being here so much. And Randy, I'm going to move the microphone over to you. So please give a warm welcome as Randy Raby shares some words with you today. I know you're not used to a microphone, Randy.
That's okay. I'll get used to it real quick. Citizens of Macon County, what a day this is. It is one of the most wonderful days I have known. This is a service that, if you have to use it, it is truly life-saving. And I want to thank, first of all, I'd like to thank Jim Sawyer, all the executives and the folks who helped make this happen at DaVita. I would like to thank the DaVita employees, the current ones in Silva, the ones that will be coming to Frabnklin. And Ronnie, I've had employees who will be here at this center express to me they want to make this the best one anywhere.
And they will.
They will. And I want to thank, of course, Ronnie Bill, our county commissioner. When it comes to getting things done anywhere in this state, Ronnie's the one that'll get it done. especially when it's on the hearts of the Logan County people. You mentioned those million miles. Now, if I start mentioning names, we'll be here till 7 o'clock this evening. But especially the members, current members of Calvary Baptist Church, who have driven me. Some who are no longer here have driven me. And I just want to thank the folks of Calvary, and I want to thank the employees of DaVita for being dedicated. They're the most dedicated folks that I know. I'm proud of each and every one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. It's because of people like Randy Raby that when this thing first started and they said, well, that's just not going to happen. You're too rural. You're too far out. You're too rural. You don't have the patient count. You don't have this. You don't have that. We didn't pay much attention to none of that. And Randy was one of those people who I would talk to often, and was always an encourager, no matter how bad he felt, no matter how good of a bad day he had. But there's the thing before I introduce the next gentleman that's going to give us a few words. We're going to be working with the county manager as Jack Horton leads this county, who's done many great things for the county. But our goal is to have a Macon Transit van dedicated to this facility. Wow. That when you come and go, and we just approved a grant to buy a new van, and we were asking how many lifts it had and how we could place everybody in that van. But as we get up and going here in a few weeks, I think you'll see a Macon Transit van here a lot. Day, night, whatever it's going to take. We're going to have some transportation. Another family who has made that trip too many times over the mountain is John Davis and his wife Sue. John Davis came before the Board of County Commissioners. We had already started the process some and asked John to come and give his story to the Board of County Commissioners, and he did. And from that day on, we worked tirelessly with John and with a lot of other folks in this room. I have probably talked, I don't know how many, John can tell you how many hours we've talked on the phone, a lot. And they're worth every minute. But when I would leave the committee meetings, wherever it be, Asheville, Statesville, Raleigh, wherever we were at, I would call John Davis from the parking lot because he wanted to report. And he would share that report with others. But he and Sue Davis have been back and forth across that mountain, day, night, mornings, 4:30 in the morning. And thank goodness, John, that those days are about to come to an end. But I've asked John to come and say a few words to you today as someone that, like Randy, who's had to, like many of y'all have, to endure that. We won't have to do that no more. So please make welcome Mr. John Davis. Yeah.
Great afternoon to all of you. I was asked what I was going to speak about. I said about 5 minutes, so I better get with it. Some 3.5 years ago, my wife Sue and I saw dialysis looming in our very near future. We found there was no dialysis in Frabnklin or Macon County. And I began to ask the various departmental heads, and I got the same answer. No funds, not even in the budget. Well, I placed a call to the Health and Human Services Division over in Raleigh, and I met an expert on dialysis centers, Ms. Elizabeth Brown. She gave me a college course in what we needed to do, fixed me up a package, done everything. She's a division chief there in the medical resources, facility resources. Fixed all that up for me and then said some magic words. She said there will be no funding impact on Macon County. I said, would you say that again? She did. I came back, and as Commissioner Beal said, I went before the county commissioners. I brought the package and I gave it to them. And I gave them those magic words, no funding impact, that it was a private entity that would come in, not cost us a dime. They unanimously supported it, endorsed it, did a resolution, and the ball was rolling. Commissioner Ronnie Beal picked that ball up and have run with it like a Dallas Cowboy running back. He has done a great job, and we are here today. I would like to personally thank Commissioner Beal. He has been very close in contact with me and keeping me posted. I would like to thank our Board of County Commissioners for their support. And Chairman Kevin Corbin has been supportive from the beginning. I would like to thank our community for your support, our media for the support that you've given us. I thank DaVita in Silver for what they've done for us, and the Mountain Kidney and Hypertension in Nashville. And I would like to thank the patients. That's what it boils down to, is the patients. And their professional caregivers and their family and friend caregivers. We have become a family over in Silver in the waiting room out there. We just ran in, almost all of us, Jenny, Don, Jerry, and I can't get you all, but it has just been something. And I tell you, I've been in 6 dialysis centers. Nothing compares to the one you're now standing in. And I would like to personally thank DaVita Corporation, and in particular, Mr. Jim Sawyer. He's the Regional Operations Director for DaVita, and he too has been a running back. Excuse me. He told me some time ago, he said, I'm going to amaze you how fast we get in there. I said, amaze me. I stand here today in amazement, Ronnie. I am amazed. And guess what? In the very near future, and you're asking me that, I don't know, maybe we'll find out today, we're going to be more amazed as we come full operational here. And I would like to thank people like Jack Horton and Kathy Paul, people that have done so much paperwork for us.
Chester Jones.
And Chester Jones, yes. You don't realize you come into a place, you say, oh, everything looks good. No, somebody did something to get this done. And for those that lost members in the last few years but are still supported, like Gloria and Donna, you're great. We appreciate you. Now, if I've left out anybody, they say that people my age, I'm 80 years old, have a great memory. They forgot to tell you we don't have much of it. So if I've omitted anybody, I apologize to you. I salute everybody that did
Folks that were instrumental, Greg Smith, their Department of Health and Human Services. Ronnie, we're so sorry we cannot be there today. You understand that we're in Raleigh, enough said. But please, thank everyone in Macon County for their diligence and patience as we work through the process to provide this service to Macon County. We thank you for all you've done and thank the people of Macon County. We will be in Macon County soon. Look forward to touring the facility. Once again, thank all the folks in Macon County for all they've done. Yours truly, Drexel Pratt. Now, if you don't know Drexel Pratt and Elizabeth Brown, what John said is true. These folks, without their involvement and help, even though it's in the government, and that's where you have to go to, and that's what we did. So they recognized the need here, and they helped us a lot. Now, once we got, going back to July 11th, I mentioned the first meeting in Nashville, and I truly believe, regardless of how you sit here today, or whatever your religion may be, your denomination may be, I think the Lord puts people in a special place, a special time. I truly believe that. And this next gentleman I'm going to introduce, I believe in my heart today that he was placed there for this community and for this day that we're having here today. I had finished my presentation at Asheville, and a few of them were a little bit shy in their presentation. As you can tell, I probably wasn't. And so after the meeting, one of the members of the committee approached me and said, listen, because it didn't, the fact was it didn't look too promising. We're asking for, we have another center 20-something miles away. When you live in Raleigh, 20-something miles on I-40 is nothing. Well, 20-something miles and 54 miles from here to Silver is a big deal in February. And so we explained that. And this gentleman caught on to that, and since then, he has not only been a supporter of this institution, he's never been in Macon County before in his life. You've never met the man, you don't know him, but I can tell you, if you're in this room and concerned about dialysis care, or health in general, this man is a supporter of this community. He's not only become my friend, he's become a great supporter. I can read his resume, but it'd take me like all day. But I can tell you this, that he left Raleigh early this morning, Cary, North Carolina, to be here today for this ceremony. And of all the folks, he said on both of the committees, the Special Needs Committee, the final vote, the day that Representative Wainwright, we have the final vote in Raleigh. He and another, I want to mention one more fellow friend, his name is Johnny Farmer. Johnny Farmer is the Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners in Hertford County. If you don't know where that is, go to Raleigh and turn up. It's a long way. But me and Johnny Farmer have been friends. I had served as Chairman of the Health and Human Services Committee in Raleigh, and Johnny had been on that committee. But I did not know he was on the Facilities Committee until he walked in that morning. I said, hi. You know. But when this gentleman, he had written letters, he had spoke to the people he spoke to, Representative Wainwright, who ran the meeting. He had already been spoke to by this gentleman I'm going to introduce to you today. Dr. Frabnklin Patel, you can't imagine the work he's done for this day today. I mean, we've all been busy, we're all busy. But he is the founding partner in Cary Internal Medicine, and he is the director of the Diabetes Center in Cary, North Carolina. He has a heart for health in a statewide level, and when he sees a need, he will pursue it. So he left Raleigh early this morning. He's got to go back to be at work in the morning. But when I called him and asked him to come, he said, I will make a way. And he has today. So I would like at this time to introduce you a special friend to this community and a special friend to health in North Carolina, and especially this dialysis center. I can't thank him enough, and neither can you. So please make welcome, as he comes to speak to us a few words, Dr. Frabnklin Patel.
Thanks for all for coming out on such a wonderful day. You folks are really resourceful. I saw it firsthand, moving the show inside. So my passions are medicine, as you heard from Commissioner Beal, being a physician, and also education. After all, that's how I got here. And so there was a long road from India to New York City and then to Cary, North Carolina. 40 years in the making. Anyway, Commissioner Beal came to a public hearing meeting at a hospital in Asheville, which you're all familiar with, Mission Memorial, and he made one point and asked one question. The point he made was, we're a 27-member council, State Health Coordinating Council, that these types of issues are brought forth to. And a vote is taken ultimately, but before that it goes to a committee, and usually the council votes along with the committee. So one of the points he made was that you folks do know that there's nobody west of Asheville on this committee. So I think that struck at least 3 or 4 council members who were there, because these public hearings occur in about half a dozen places in the state, so we could hear what the people have to say. So that it is not only the highly paid consultants who know how to say it right, do it right, and so to speak, and then it becomes an obstructionist type of mechanism versus a proactive mechanism of getting things done. And that's why public hearing meetings are very important. That's why we take out our time and go. So that was the point he made. One, that there's nobody on the council west of Asheville. But then he asked another question. And he said, do you folks know where Macon County is? Nobody raised their hand. We're one county away from Tennessee. It reminded me of my time in Cherokee when we visited with my family. So you've got a great ambassador in Commissioner Ronnie Beal, and I think that set the stage for us to at least listen. He was trying to make very impressive points in a very subtle way, that there's more to the state than just Raleigh and Greensboro and Charlotte and so forth, and the state doesn't end in Asheville. There's more to be seen and more people to be taken care of. So it just so happened on a summer morning in 2011 in Asheville, the Commissioner Ronnie Beal and I met. He spoke with great passion, as you all are very familiar with, with, but I had only heard him once, at the State Health Coordinating Council's public hearing meeting, petitioning for a much-needed dialysis center for the citizens of Macon County, so they wouldn't have to make this treacherous trip, as you heard from a couple folks whose family members were undergoing dialysis and are no longer with us. Traveling to an adjacent county for life-saving and life-sustaining treatment. Treatment that's not only commonplace, but also the standard care, not only in America, and as you heard from the folks from DaVita, internationally. They've got presence in North Carolina, all over the U.S., and now internationally. So Commissioner Beal presented your letters. He's not lying. I read them. And he also presented your photos, which were very moving. Thanks for taking them. In inclement weather, illustrating the hardship you and your loved ones faced. You should be aware and take great pride in knowing that approval of such a facility is often the work of very well-paid consultants. For two reasons. One, as you heard, somebody had to, quote, go to college to find out what the rules were and how to get it done. And so knowing the rules, that's one. But number two, this is a very important point, and it shouldn't be this way, but it is. Overcoming of opposition of, this might be a little harsh, of not necessarily unjust rules, but rules that might not be so fair. Or rules that place a tremendous burden on the petitioner, you, the citizens of Macon County, often preventing the right from happening. And that's often what happens in the big city of Raleigh. A lot of politics get played. You know, I see patients for a living, but as you heard from Commissioner Beal, I'm the State Health Coordinating Council. I'm also on the North Carolina Medical State's Legislative Cabinet. And so this is another wonderful reason why we have public hearings, basically. The two reasons I mentioned. One, the rules are difficult for the ordinary citizen to understand. But secondly, you're up against professionals. So we like to hear directly from the people. And on that summer morning of August 2011 in Asheville, a public hearing commenced. And things were about to change. We heard from you through a plea, very loud, very clear, through your ambassador, the Honorable Commissioner Ronnie Beal. He conveyed through your letters, and in particular your photos, more than what I think anybody else has conveyed in the 4 years I've been on the council. It was clear to me, along with Drexel Pratt and Elizabeth Brown, who couldn't be here. But we had to make sure that the status quo was something that could not be, the way we went about things when we had these debates at the council all the time, rural versus urban. I've asked them to carve it up into two zones. You know, there's zone 1, we do one thing in zone 1, urban, zone 2, rural, we do, and this was 3 or 4 years ago I asked them, and this had to do with bringing up hospital beds, and, you know, meaning frankly bringing up hospitals. Where do we bring up hospitals and how many beds? I said, well, you know, it's going to be different. In Wake County, where I'm at, you have 3 hospitals. Sorry, 4 hospitals. Because Wake Med has 2, and then you have Duke and UNC. 4 hospitals in one county. Yes, we have 1 million people, but we have 4 hospitals in one county. And so I proposed this, but, you know, it hasn't carried much weight. So on my way back from the public hearing meeting, from Asheville to Cary, North Carolina, a little suburb outside of Raleigh, I gave a petition much thought and consideration. Then I met with my colleagues at the SHIC, and I am honored, really, and privileged to be here with you to witness how the fruits of your labor are now a dream realized. So thank you, because this process really started with 1 patient, 2 patients, half a dozen patients, dozen patients, going over the mountains to Silva, and now you're going to get dialysis where you should be getting it in Macon County. But if I can make just one other point, be passionate about healthcare, eat right, exercise, it's in the prevention. But when we need life-sustaining treatments, we need them. Our population is getting older, it's getting bigger, but you need maybe better food choices, and that goes from all the way down to the schools. We have these debates in Raleigh too. I take them down to downtown at the state legislature through my work at the state medical society. And so there's prevention to be had. But again, this is a great day, a great moment, and thank you for having me out here. I wouldn't miss it in the world. Commissioner Beal calls. I say when and where. Thank you.
You don't understand how much work that Dr. Patel has done here. You really don't. When you get in these committee meetings, it's large committees. They don't really know me yet. But Dr. Patel knew these folks, that we had friends. And he is a friend of this community. And you know, for him to get up and leave his work today to drive to Macon County from Cary, which used to be a little suburb, you can't tell the difference between it and Raleigh now. But we can't appreciate him. Before you leave today, if you would, there's a lot of folks to thank. Anybody you'd like to thank, but Peg could make a special effort to thank Dr. Patel, because I know what all he did, and it's appreciated, and it will never be forgotten by none of these folks. Another thing you'll learn about mountain people, Dr. Patel, they don't forget nothing, good or bad. So we appreciate that. We appreciate him so much being here. Now I'm about to wrap it up, because they claim my ramble. But some other folks, so once we got the approval and things were humming along, you know, not fast enough for me, so we'd keep, and I'll talk about Bill Highland here in a minute. He couldn't make it today. I think I've aged him up 50 years. But we had to have a place to put the facility. So Bill came to Frabnklin. He and I went to several places looking at what was feasible and possible. And Bill Highland liked this location. Bill Highland is the services coordinator for DaVita. And through this process, and by the way, Bill was at all these meetings that I was at, and became a good friend. I did probably drive him crazy, but that's okay. But he became a good friend, but he liked this place, so we got to checking into it. And because of some more folks in this county, and thanks to Sarah and Pete Penland, who owned this building. If you remember, this was originally built as a Social Security office. Then CareNet occupied it for the thrift store. And now it's our beautiful new dialysis facility. And so Sarah and Pete Penland, we thank them for their work that they did with DaVita to make this happen, to work out an agreement where we could have this beautiful facility. You'll see the beautiful flowers out next to the fireplace that was donated by them today. Of course, Pete Penn's been a leader in Macon County for a long time. And Pete tell you, I don't do nothing more, but let me tell you this, his leadership still continues in this county. And we appreciate Sarah and Pete Penland. They're here somewhere. I'd like for them to stand up and let's recognize those folks. And as I get done with my part, I do have to recognize DaVita. I mean, these are the folks who, without their cooperation and help, would not happen. You know, things would get bogged down. I'm not that really an impatient person, but I'm used to seeing get things done. And if it gets too slow, I get really impatient, and I call Bill Highland like every 30 minutes or so. And matter of fact, if you look at this book, you'll see whose number's on the front of it's Bill Highland. So, but through all that, and Jim Sawyer and all the folks at DaVita, Jim is the regional manager for DaVita, they have been nothing but courteous to me. As Dr. Patel said, it is a process. They are hoops and bumps you have to jump over and figure out the way through, but we did that with the help of them. But I want to thank Bill Highland could not be here today. He has a certificate of need hearing in Raleigh, and he could not be here today. But if he was here, I would rig him a little bit that he was only 25 when we started this process. Now he looks 80. So, but Bill Highland's a great man. He's active in his community, and was very helpful in all this. And of course, Jim Sawyer and all the staff at DaVita have been nothing but courteous to me and to their patients. But that's what it's all about here today. We have a alarming number of people who have stage 4 renal failure in Macon County. And we hope we hope there's new treatments come along that they never have to use this facility. But if they do, they can watch the ball game while it's happening. That's all I can say. And we have a lot of those folks are here today. And but we hope, as Dr. Patel mentioned, as research continues in renal failure, that we can go back and this will become another thrift store. That would be the goal. But until then, you folks that are stage 4 and maybe approaching this road know that this facility, there's a little plaque out front, and it said that it's for generations, not only for the ones receiving treatment now, for generations to come. And that's what this is. Long after the runs in this room may be forgotten, the people needing this treatment will not forget, and they won't forget what's happened here today. So I thank you so much for allowing me to be a small part of this process, and the people I have met along the way, whether it be patients, and some of y'all haven't met till today, but boy, we've talked a lot. And we've got your letters. I do have those letters. There's everyone cataloged in this book, and I can't thank you enough for allowing me to be a process. So I'm going to bring Jim Sawyer back up. He's going to tell you how we're going to eat. Dr. Patel wasn't referring to me, by the way, when he was talking about that. He excluded me from the healthy eating part. But Jim's going to come, so thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy the refreshments, enjoy one another, and please thank some of these folks that have spoken today. And thank each one of you for all you did to make this happen. So thank you so much.
Well, it is indeed an honor to be your provider of dialysis services. We look forward to having a long relationship with this community. And you know what? You've got a first-class facility here, but you folks are a first-class group of folks. And such a pleasure to know and serve. Most importantly, the patients, I just want to say they're like family to us because they spend a lot of time with us every day and us with them. I appreciate our teammates back here who will be glad to lead you on a tour and who have been responsible for getting the center all cleaned up and looking good today, and the food and the decorations. We don't get to do this every day, but we do get to serve a very special group of people like Mr. Raby and others. And we're so honored to do that. We thank you for helping us celebrate here today. But before we go,
let me just thank you. I forgot some folks. This sound system just did not happen. Mr. Tony Angel. Is Tony in the room? Tony is always willing to help in any way to benefit the community. We thank him. And we'd like to recognize our sheriff of Macon County, Robbie Holland. Robbie's also played a part in this process. This is not his baby, but he has 2 beautiful children. Our chairman, Kevin Corbin, is in Asheville today on Thursdays, and he's not here. I don't think none of the other commissioners. Do you have any more elected officials with us that I've missed? Let me just mention a couple names. That was in 2011. The chairman of our board, none of the commissioners now that's on our board were really there when this process started, but all those commissioners went by the wayside. Brian McClellan, Charlie Leatherman, a lot of those folks who really worked hard and gave me the freedom to pursue this thing. So, and Robbie Holland has always been there with anything we needed to help too from the sheriff's department as he is today. So I want to thank those folks. Jim, sorry.
okay, we're going to have a ribbon cutting because you can't have a grand opening without a ribbon cutting, can you? So we'd expected to do it at the front door, as you know, but we're going to do it right here. And after the ribbon cutting, right, if you grab your group together, we're going to have tours available. And if teammates would raise their hand back there, and thank you, teammates, for all you did today. As you know, we don't call our folks employees, we call them teammates because we are a team. We're community first and a company second. But we look forward to take you on a tour. So take a few minutes to grab someone that's one of our teammates, let them tell you about the wonderful work that we do in dialysis, toot our own horn a little bit. We're going to offer 2 modalities here. Hemodialysis, which is in the chair, but also home dialysis, peritoneal dialysis. And we have our peritoneal dialysis nurse here, Majestic. Majestic, raise your hand. Okay. And she will be glad to tell you all about home dialysis because we're going to have 25 patients starting here with hemodialysis. Take us probably a couple months to be certified. by the state, but 25 hemodialysis patients and about 18 home patients. So this is going to be a thriving center from day one. Let's do the ribbon cutting, and then we'll have food available and tours. Okay. Okay. Let's do that.
Oops. Gloria, John May. Randy. Well, I'm going to let this gentleman right here operate this thing, so this is what it's all about. It's about the patient. And are they real or are they just fake cut? They're real. They're real? All right. Everybody ready? Yeah. 1, 2. You can get suck it in.
Enjoy the center.
Thank you.